So I've got the lead screw turned around in the collet chuck, and at this point I'm going to put a 1/4 inch shoulder here, or 1/4 inch wide by I think 625 shoulder there, and then I got to turn 3/4 down to 0.53, and that gives us the material we need to put 375 square on there for the crank handle. So at this point I'm going to just turn this down to 530. Well, we're pretty close already. 559.5. I'm going to take 28 off. Got 4 to go. Really not worried about the finish because it's all coming off. It's going to be squared up. One of the other things I wanted to do is put a radius on this end here, so as I put the square on, the actual corners will have a nice radius on them. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out the 375, the 3/8 square drive on here, just because I want to file quite a bit of metal off. I could grind it off, and that's what I've done in the past, but I'm going to try and take a bit of the metal off so I got some layout lines so I can get down close, and then I'll grind it. So what I've done is I've taken the square block, which I think is 1 inch 725, and then put the 3/8 in the center. So I've got the height gauge set up at 1 inch 050, which should give us a 3/8 square there. Well, looks like we got it right. without a mill, I thought the best approach was just to get the slot there milled out. Took it to a friend of mine who's got a mill, and he took care of that for me. So at this point, this is how things go back together. That spacer goes in there, and then this guy here with the hole in it goes on there. And then the nut here and I'm just going to grab I think it's 332s or 332. And so what's going to happen is I'm going to make a pin for this. And then what will happen is when this comes in to lock up against there, it can't rotate, so you create like a thrust scenario there. That seems just a little too tight. Trying to get where there's a little bit of play in the jaw here, and that'll give me a good thrust there. Anyway, so the next step is to make a pin. It's going to kind of be like a rivet with a flat with a dome on top here. So what I need to make now is the pin that goes in this spacer, and that was drilled 3/32, so I'm going to try and make the pin just slightly under that. The depth I need is about just over a quarter, about 260. That'll get me about 90 thou of engagement into the lead screw, and then I'm just going to put like a button top on it. Hopefully I can get just a slight press fit, and won't have to put any Loctite or anything on that. So I've got the stock set up. I'm just going to use some 1/4-inch stock. I've got it set up in the lathe in the collet chuck, so we'll get started over there. So right now, I'm going to double check it. Yeah, it's 101 thou. I want to be down at 9. I want to start at 94. Need to take, or 93. This 332 is 93.8, so that's saying that's 95. I just want to check the slot in the lead screw, make sure this will fit in there. So it looks like it's gonna. And then I think while it's in the lathe here, since I can get that like that, before I pull that out of there, I'm just going to clean that up. So I'm going to turn around and put a different collet in the lathe here, and then we'll try and turn a dome on there. So that's 160. I'm already second guessing the dimensions. It just looks too tall for the width now. So that width is so that it's inside of the flat. So I'm going to take a little more off of there. So that looks good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it back in the collet, but stick it out a bit so I can work it with a file. Happy with the shape of that now, so I'm going to pull that out of there and we'll see how it fits. So I've got the pin in there now. I think that that shape came out pretty good. It's just kind of just a snug fit right now. You know, I guess it's not quite as snug. I'm going to put a little Loctite on it once I put it all together, make sure it's going to work. I'll pull it back apart, but fits good on the lead screw. Ready for final assembly. So at this point I've got the pin in there with a little bit of Loctite, so that's ready to go. Got the 1/4 20 set screw there, spacer, we got the screw, so we'll put her together now, see what happens. So what I'm looking for, I want the jaw tight. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to back the screw out just until this back end comes in contact with the casting. Without actually moving the jaw, so that's basically tight. And now the spacer is going to go in. And then we got this guy going on. And then what I think I want to do is I'm going to start out, this is just a piece of shim stock I had laying around. I'm going to start out with, I want to put a little bit of play in there. I'm only going to put 6 thou in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold the screw and just tighten up the nut by using the set screw here. And then I'll just tighten up the set screw. Pull the shim out. And there we go. Lead screw's a little long, but I think I'm going to leave it. Pretty happy with it. It's gone together good. And at this point, next step is going to be to get it mounted on the shaper and see what we can cut with it.